We need to talk, you and I. But if you try and summon Etrigan, I'll fill your lungs with bile before the first verse is done. Savvy?
John Constantine. The demon-tricking, wisecracking, cynical magician and con man who is known for his charming wit and demeanor as well as his skills as a warlock. And despite his proficiency in magic, John typically is known best for his smarts, his incredible ability to think on his feet, plan ahead, as well as come up with schemes to go for the long run that all come together. Constantine is a paranormal investigator or a occult detective from Liverpool, England. He is a massive fan favorite in the DC Vertigo sphere as well as a major character in the main DC proper. His accomplishments, demeanor, and overall personality of being a charming bastard has earned him a top spot for myself and many others. So let's not dilly-dally and take a bit of a deep dive into Constantine, the Hellblazer.
Wow! Now that's a losing hand for the ages. Now, read 'em and what?
Do they have an eye doctor in hell? I'd make an appointment if I was you.
Oh, you cheated!
Technically, we both cheated. I just did it better.
I'll rip your bloody heart out!
Sorry, mate. I'm using that.
Now, a massive FYI before I begin here. Yes, I am well aware of his name being pronounced Constantine, not Constantine, which was something that the movie in 2005 did with his pronunciation, and after the film came out, the name kinda stuck. And circumstances like this are nothing new nor will change. Many Batman fans still debate whether Ra's al Ghul's name is supposed to be pronounced, and if I was to be honest, I don't really mind the difference in name pronunciation, and a matter of fact, I actually like saying Constantine over Constantine rather because I think it just rolls off the tongue better. So I hope that little side tangent over how Johnny's name's supposed to be pronounced pleases the super nerds who might be watching this. So let's get into it. So funny enough, the origins of Constantine don't really start in Hellblazer, but rather Swamp Thing. Yep, the chain-smoking occult detective made his true debut in the Saga of Swamp Thing issue 37. In said issue, John is investigating Swamp Thing and his possible return. Writer Alan Moore came up with the concept of the character, and Moore asked the artist who exactly he would like to draw and replied someone who resembled the singer Sting, and thus John Constantine was born. And for some of you that are massive music junkies, if you wonder why John looks like someone, well, now you know why. Soon after his appearance on Swamp Thing, he was given his own comic series under DC Vertigo's print label named Hellblazer. And a massive FYI for those who don't know, DC Vertigo was something akin to that of Marvel Max, a print of the company that deals with darker, more adult comics and stories. So yeah, the beginning stories in Vertigo's imprint were kind of a part of the DC universe, but rather loosely. Comics being Hellblazer, Swamp Thing, Sandman, Lucifer, Books of Magic, as well as a few others, are examples of this mini-shared universe that lightly take place alongside DC's mainline continuity. Many writers have written for the series such as Jamie Delano, Grant Morrison, Neil Gaiman, Warren Ellis, and Garth Ennis, as well as several others. The series goes up to 300 issues running from 1988 all the way up to 2013, one of the longest running series under DC Vertigo's publishing. And I will say that some of the later stories can be hit or miss, but the entire series is nothing short of fantastic. However, after this, DC has had their reboot named The New 52 after Flashpoint, an attempt to start off their characters back to square zero, albeit with some slightly different backstories, so that new readers could join in with a fresh start. And in this reboot, several characters that weren't originally in DC's main continuity was brought in, John Constantine being one of them, with his own series named, well, Constantine. But that's not the only series that DC put Johnny in. Justice League Dark, a sub-branch of the JL that deals with supernatural threats, its members being that of a rotating roster of John Constantine, Zatanna, Zatara, Deadman, Frankenstein, Etrigan, Swamp Thing, and a few others. Later on, DC kinda attempted to bank off the Hellblazer name with John Constantine, the Hellblazer. It launched in 2015 and ended a year later in 2016. And after this, DC once again rebooted with Rebirth, a way for DC to bring back some of the pre-Flashpoint continuity and rope it into the New 52 continuity, as well as them doing a story with Watchmen with varying degrees of success. And in this new continuity that DC set up, once again, Hellblazer kinda, came out in 2016 that lasted up to 2018. Now in the midst of all this chicanery, DC did a big oopsie with itself and shut down DC Vertigo a mere 2 years later in 2020, and in doing so, moved future publishing and reprints of classic Vertigo comics like Watchmen, American Vampire, Northlanders to DC Black. There we got stories like Batman Damned, a story where Constantine does make an appearance and helps Batman out on a case, as well as Batman's circumcised penis, which caused a bit of a fuss, which led to DC removing Batcock, but we're not allowed to talk about that. I am not joking, this was a very fucking stupid controversy. And under DC Black, fuck, I hate that name. And under DC Black, other stories that were under Vertigo like American Vampire, or even the Sandman subsect of comics like Lucifer, Books of Magic, and yes, even Hellblazer got a comeback, with DC Black's John Constantine, the Hellblazer, that lasted through 2020 up to 2021. Regardless of the various reboots, reimaginings, reworks, and such, John Constantine has remained fairly consistent, at least in regards to personality. John is still a chain-smoking, wisecracking asshole and justly dark as he is in Hellblazer proper, or even in the more recent iteration of the character, regardless if DC lets him drop an F-bomb or not. Now in regards to backstory, this is where things differ a bit. Now in Vertigo's continuity, John's life was difficult. John was born as a twin, but on the way out, he strangled his brother in the womb with his umbilical cord. And to make things worse, his birth killed his mother. Due to this event, his father blamed him for the death of his wife, which made John's relationship with his father estranged. John usually ran away from home on a regular basis, but wherever he was not away, his sister usually took care of him. John dabbled into mystic arts and the occult as a distraction from his terrible home life. Later on, John moved in with his best friend and best ally, Chaz Chandler. After dabbling more and more into the mystic arts and coming across various demons and otherworldly spirits and the like, Constantine became the mystic detective he is today. His various adversaries being the demon Nergal, a demon who John encounters several times and is a major character that played a role in his life. First of the Fallen, aka Satan himself, and FYI, Lucifer and Satan are two different entities in the Vertical world. John has encountered this character numerous times in this series and has on occasion tricked him, causing major strife between the two. One other character that John deals with throughout Hellblazer is none other than his dead twin brother known as the Golden Boy, someone who has played in the events of John's life since the start and has played a role in many tragedies in his life. Now, in regards to DC proper, things are a bit different. Where John's mother died in labor in Vertigo's universe, she is very much alive in the DC universe, but not for long. In DC's continuity, John at a young age performed a magical spell, but did not know the cost of said spell, and it led to the death of his parents. And since this version of John is in the main DC universe, that means he deals with threats from that world like Trigon, Dr. Fate, as well as many others. Now, there's a little discussion in regards to Constantine's magical abilities. If you go to Hellblazer, you see that John mostly uses his brains to solve cases rather than his magical abilities. He does use them from time to time, but his greatest weapon is his mind. In both continuities, he is descendant of a long line of magicians, thus allowing him to be a powerful magician to an extent, even though he is not the most adept at magic in Vertigo's world. In DC proper, however, that is a different story. Warcasting, mind control, suggestion, demon summoning, curses, gallimancy, pyromancy, necromancy, illusion casting, teleportation, conjuration, as well as many more are actually at his disposal.
Oh, the old magic, that's the stuff. Cuts both ways, though.
Hear me, Wonder Woman of the Justice League. You were a paragon for warriors through the ages, not Darkseid's minion. Break free, now!
The feats Constantine accomplished in both continuities are also nothing to scoff at, and are among some of the many reasons why he is such a fan favorite. As stated earlier, John is a magician that primarily uses his brain rather than his magical abilities. Tricking and conning various demons and other entities is why he is someone that is both feared and admired by many. He has cheated death several times, opened portals to other planes like heaven and hell, temporarily took the powers of Shazam from Billy Batson, tricked Nobu, aka Dr. Fate, so he can take the helmet off using an elaborate illusion spell, and that feat alone is insane knowing how powerful Dr. Fate is as a magic user. He bluffed Berul, a powerful demon that at the time was possessing Chaz's daughter, telling him that he was not going to let a little girl get in the way between him and taking down the demon himself. Demon falls for it and leaves her, knowing that Constantine, despite being human, is not someone you want to piss off. In another issue, John has ripped Nergal, a very powerful demon, spine out of his back, killing him temporarily. He has fooled the Archangel Gabriel into sleeping with a demon Ellie, and while this happens, he rips his heart from his chest, and once Gabriel sees this, he tries to go to heaven but is locked out for fornicating with a demon, and comes crashing down to earth. John and Ellie find Gabriel and force him to work for them due to John having one thing keeping him alive, his heart. Oh, and John cuts off his wings with a freaking chainsaw. He has also tricked the first of the fallen, the devil himself, into drinking holy water, and in the same storyline, Dangerous Habits tricked the first of the fallen and his two brothers into curing his lung cancer due to him selling his soul in parts to each of them, meaning if he dies, they'll have to fight over it, leading to a massive civil war in hell, leaving it vulnerable to heaven. And since Old Scratch does not want this to happen, he reluctantly and painfully cures John of his cancer and heals him of any blight he may have had. And after all this, John, with a wide smile on his face, gives the three the bird. And moments like the ones I mentioned is why John Constantine is so loved by many, including myself. The fact that he came out on top using only his wits and smarts, being able to plan ahead multiple steps ahead of his adversaries, and once they are down, he only leaves them a nod, a wink, and a wisecrack. And this is why we love John Constantine, the Hellblazer. So that is all for now. Hope you guys liked the video. Be sure to like, comment, sub, all that good jazz. Take care. Catch y'all later. Stay chill, Wanderers.